Service Providers podcast. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. Are you a dentist, realtor, lawyer, accountant? Do you provide services locally? Then this podcast is for you. Here we share strategies, tricks, and techniques on how to generate more leads and sales using online marketing. Join us every day for 5 minutes and take away strategies which you can apply in your business. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 165 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. And today we are talking about how to build a dedicated following using podcast. But before I jump into it, yesterday's episode was all about, or last episode was all about, like, is your online marketing a picture of chaos or is it a well-oiled machine? I mean, go and check it out at rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. So let's talk about podcasting. We know that, podcasting is one of the secret ingredient which people can do when they're multitasking, right? We know that people, so let's take an example. Where do people listen podcast? A lot of them, are over 52% are listening while they're driving, 46% are listening while they're traveling. I mean, in the plane, in the buses, in the trains. 40% are actually listening when they're walking or biking. 37 of them listening while they're commuting in the public transport. 32% listen while people are working out. And if you notice on all of that, like, people are actually doing something but they're multitasking by listening to a podcast. Then also we also know that, that in Canada, if we take an example as a test market, right, and these numbers are aligned well with US, UK, Australia, more developed countries, that in Canada, 16 million people out of 33 34 million people of population, almost half of it, somewhere around 43 to 44% of them have listened to a podcast. And it's basically content on demand like Netflix, but you cannot, when you're driving, when you're doing multitasking, you cannot technically view the video. So podcast provides you content on demand on any subject matter. Also we know that, the number of people who have been listening have went up 11% year over year. And overall, 40% of Canadians in age 12 and older have listened to a podcast at some point in time. And we also know that, 9 million Canadians listen to podcast every month. And if we take a perspective that, that's up 14%. And if I took it into percentage aspect, almost 24 to 25% of Canadians are listening to podcasts monthly. Now, if we put this into a context, that let's say just 21% of Canadians are actual Catholic, and how many people, how many Canadians go to movies weekly, right? It 3% of Canadians go to movies weekly. 3%, okay? But 6 million Canadians listen to podcast weekly, 5 times more. So just to put the things into perspective, that the medium of podcasting is an amazing way to build a following, to build, to reach out to your customers. Now, so we have established that, by numbers and by proving that podcasting is a really good medium and your business or your services business should be using it. Now jumping on to the next thing, that how can you basically take advantage of it? So what I've also done is, in the show notes, I've actually included a link for a launch checklist. And how can you basically launch a podcast, right? There's a checklist there. And second thing, what I've done is, I've also enclosed a link to podcast growth and marketing strategies. So okay, once you have launched your podcast, how can you grow it? What kind of marketing strategies you can apply, right? And it's amazing that you'll be surprised surprised that how much potential podcasting has. And as much as your business does blogging, as much as you are on Instagram, like podcast should be one of the mediums that you should be looking at, in your top three or top five, mediums, because I personally think, and I truly believe by looking at the numbers, that podcasting has an amazing power of building that tribe around your brand and building that following. And this medium is just getting started. I think I recently we can clearly see that it's going that when Apple or Google, like the more in now in the car or everywhere else, podcasting is basically becoming a default medium. It's like a Netflix on the go, but audio version of it, right? So your business should be on it, and go and check check out these like launch checklist and podcast growth and marketing strategies links, because I think that will really help you to get started with this. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good day. Provide us some feedback if you have some topics in mind. If you want us to talk about something specific, reach out to us, and we will love to talk about those topics. Have a good day. Bye bye. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to listen to previous episodes, go to rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. Again, I'll repeat that, rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. I'll catch you tomorrow bright and early with another business growth lesson. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.